These three soundproofing products are a complete waste of money. Let me explain what they are. My name is Wilson Harwood, and I am an acoustician and studio designer based in Nashville, Tennessee. And I design and build studios all over the world, and I never, ever use these three products for sound isolation purposes. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain what they are, and I'm going to explain the science behind them and some of the practical reasons why I think there are a lot better options out there for sound isolating your room. All right, let's dive in. All right, so here we have one of my favorites, everybody. This is the Green Glue Compound. And then I built my first studio from the advice of the Soundproofing Company, and also Rod Gervais kind of mentioned green glue in his book. But I have since decided that green glue is, one, ridiculously expensive. We're pushing almost $500 here. On the ISO store, it's looking like it's $4.20 for this gallon, and if you buy the smaller amounts, it's even more money per square foot. This covers about 365 square feet, so you're looking at like $1,500 for like just in the green glue, plus you got to buy $60 for this, and then it adds the labor cost because it's more things. So we're looking at like thousands of dollars added to your cost using green glue. So that's one of the reasons I eliminated it from my own design business. The second is that there's some sketchy things going on with green glue where the last time it was documented was in 2008. And I've got a bunch of the technical data, and it does show that it does improve isolation. And I've decided that for the most part, I think it works. Is it going to give you dramatically more isolation? No, not necessarily. But since then, green glue has taken off any of their test data. They used to have it on their website. They've since taken it down, which I think is strange. And now if you come down here, you can look for, let's see here, what sound reduction can I expect after installing green glue? And they don't even tell you. They say once you have details on your construction, you can contact a soundproofing specialist through our map. And you're like, oh, a soundproofing specialist, great. So you click on their map and you click on somebody, let's say, I don't know, like this dot here. And you get like all these West Coast sound solutions, sound acoustic solutions, acoustical surfaces. And if we look at these people, what they're doing is it looks like they're probably selling products to you. So they're not necessarily like a designer or acoustician. They're just selling materials that then they make a profit off of. So the whole thing to me feels a little bit like a racket. Like everyone's got skin in the game, and I just don't think it's worth it. So I stick to just straight layers of drywall. And you'll see this consistently through this. It's not just layers of drywall. So it's 2 layers of drywall minimum. And then it's all about the systems. So I cannot stress this enough that it really comes down to the systems of soundproofing. So a double wall system, an air gap, the insulation in the middle, 2 layers of drywall on each side is going to give you an STC rating of 64. That is plenty good for any basic recording studio. The reason these products are out there is that they tend to be more for like the prosumer audience, just people who are like trying to stop a TV, who don't need like maybe the highest level of sound isolation, and they buy these products and they're like, it did enough. But for home recording studios, this is not what you want to do, and it's not where your money should go. So it's all about the systems. If you're using hat channels and acoustic clips, that is a system. It's not necessarily about the products, and I'll talk more about that in a second. All right, so the second product that drives me crazy is Sonopan. Again, this is fairly expensive for a 4-foot by 8-foot panel, coming in at $35. It is out of stock at Home Depot, so that could be another thing that's troubling. But this is essentially, in my mind, an acoustic panel. It's like insulation board is essentially what it is. It's made out of wood. I've done other videos on this. I've done other videos on green glue as well, so I'll have those linked in the show notes below here. But Sonopan, I want to go to their website because essentially what this is, if we go to the main website here, it's this underlayment that they want you to put behind your drywall. And here's an example here. And if we look at what it's doing, so there's them installing it directly to a wood ceiling, and it's supposed to dampen the sound coming through. The problem I have with it is that if we go back here, it weighs almost nothing. I think it weighs like, so it weighs, let's see, do they have that? 26.5 pounds. So we're not adding mass. It doesn't weigh a lot at all. Weighs way less than 5/8 inch drywall. And when we're trying to stop sound, low frequencies travel through thin materials much more easily. So the heavier the material, the better. And the other thing I don't like about this is if we go to the technical resources and we can look at sound transmission class here, and we go down and we look at all the STC ratings. And if I look at specifically what they're doing for walls and ceilings here, for example, and we come down here and they start showing their nice STC calculations somewhere down here. So if we click on this STC rating here, we can pull this down and we can see some examples of the STC ratings that they're getting. Now, these are very standard. STC 42 would never work for a studio. STC 56 is getting on the borderline level for a home recording studio, but you can get similar results without the Sonopan. So if you do this sort of design here with 2 layers of 5/8 inch drywall, and then decoupling clips and channel, without the Sonopan, it's still going to be like an STC rating of like 55 or 56. So my point is like, why use the Sonopan? And I think it's kind of sneaky how both Green Glue and these companies are claiming to get these high STC ratings when really what's doing most of the work here is the system. It's the drywall. It's the clips. It's everything being attached correctly. It's how well did you seal up the perimeter with acoustic sealant. It's did you use insulation in here? Doesn't need to be Rockwool. We'll get to that in a second. Did you do your staggered studs if you had a double wall system? Are your studs not connected to the ceiling so that you don't, there's all these things that go beyond just the product itself that make something actually sound isolated. This idea here of just like throwing in this green board on a system that already does the isolation, I think is sort of like dishonest in a way. And it's something I've really been annoyed with these, because I've had clients come to me and say, hey, I was just about to put an order in for like, $10,000 worth of Sonopan. And I'm like, no, don't spend your money on that. Like, you don't need it. Like this system right here, take that green out, you're still going to get an STC rating of around 58. And you could just add one more layer of drywall instead of the Sonopan, and you would easily get up to like an STC rating in the 60s. So rather than spending your money on the Sonopan, spend it on more drywall. that's the secret to this that I don't understand why people won't do it. So I'm not a big fan of Sonopan, and those are the reasons why there. You guys probably already saw the sneak preview on this next one, but it's one of my favorites to talk about, which is Rockwool Safe and Sound. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that I actually think Rockwool is a good product for what it's known for, but not for sound isolation. I think Rockwool Safe and Sound is misleading for a lot of the same reasons that I've talked about with these other products, which is that yes, adding insulation into your wall cavities is essential for sound isolation, but you also need decoupling in that airtight system. So the decoupling happens from either building a separate wall, a staggered stud wall, or using acoustic clips and channels to decouple the drywall off your wall. But then you don't necessarily need to use Rockwool Safe and Sound. You could actually use any sort of fluffy insulation, cellulose, pink fiberglass, jeans, you name it. Anything in there that's going to damp the sound energy in the cavity is all that really matters. You don't necessarily need Rockwool Safe and Sound. Again, this is a marketing tactic that has worked really well for them. And I've constantly been trying to tell people that you're getting slightly duped by buying Rockwool. Now, a lot of people will be like, Wilson, wait. I used Rockwool in my walls and it worked really well. Well, okay. So if you're using 1/2 inch drywall in a regular 2x4 stud wall, using Rockwool over like pink fiberglass should make a difference in your sound, and it will probably be noticeable. But is it like gonna stop a snare drum or playing bass or rocking your monitors really loud? No, it's just for basic residential sound isolation, which is why it's worked well for them, but it's misleading when we're trying to build home recording studios, and that's what I'm here to tell you. So check this out. And I think the thing that drives me the nuts about Rockwool Safe and Sound specifically is that it's designed for acoustic performance, and they really push that in an interior wall. And I think like the rest of it, it is superior fire resistance. It's great for moisture resistance because it's made out of rock. And so it's really good for all these things. It's snug fit, easily cut. These are all things. This excellent acoustic performance, I think, is totally misleading. The other thing is Rockwool is really good at sound absorption, meaning if you used it in like acoustic panels, it would absorb frequencies even like really well, like as good as many of the other types of insulation on the market. And therefore, it's really good for acoustical performance inside your studio as like a panel, but it's not necessarily good for sound isolation. And that's why I think they're being very misleading here, and it's very confusing. Just sticking these panels in your walls is not going to mean you have a soundproof room by any means. And the reason is the same that I've talked about before, which is that if you look into their documents and testing, so let's see here if we can find some of their downloads. Okay, so I got to show this. This is their Safe and Sound soundproofing solutions brochure. And this is like totally misleading. So, excellent acoustic barrier that effectively absorbs sound, making it the choice of professional recording studios. That is just like so misleading, because it could be the choice that they're using Rockwool Safe and Sound for their acoustic panels, but it doesn't mean that they're using it for blocking sound in the walls necessarily. And that's like really misleading. Then they go in here and talk about the fire rating, the STC class of 50 right here. With just one layer of drywall and the Rockwool in there. Again, SEC 50 is not like that great, and I also think that's a bit misleading. I doubt that you could get that in the real world. The main thing here, fire resistant, that is great. That's another great aspect of it. Trust me, there are good things about Rockwool. I just think there's aspects of it that are very misleading, which is why I wouldn't waste your money on it if it's more expensive. And I also wouldn't waste your money thinking that it's the right solution for you and you don't need anything else, because that's what they lead you to think. The other thing, this is acoustical performance. This is absorption as if sound was hitting it directly, not inside a wall cavity. So it functions differently than what you're thinking of. So if we just had this on the wall, it would absorb these frequencies at these different absorption coefficients, which is good. Like these are great absorption coefficients for Safe and Sound at 1.11 down there. Those are really good. So there's nothing wrong with it as an acoustic panel, but it's not a good soundproofing solution. So that's kind of my take on all this. The thing I really want you guys to take away from this video and this podcast episode is really that Green Glue, Sonopan, and Rockwool are all falling into the same category of misleading you to thinking that their product alone is the reason you're getting sound isolation. I also think they're misleading you by using products that are like helping with the sound isolation, but not necessarily doing all the work. I'm trying to think of a good example of basically you have like all of the emphasis of sound isolation is really like the work that's being done is by the decoupling of, say, your acoustic clips or putting a space between a double wall system and then adding mass on both sides. That's like essential. And then you definitely need some sort of insulation in the wall, but it doesn't matter what type. And that's huge. It just needs to damp the frequencies that are bouncing around in that resonant cavity. And so adding 2, 3, 4 layers of drywall on either side is what's really doing the work. All of that together as a complete system is what's making it sound isolated, not any single product. So this is where the marketing and the salesmanship is coming in. And I applaud them as a business owner. I'm like, they're doing a great job. But try to move away from those products and start thinking about the systems. And as you watch more of the videos on my channel, you'll start to understand what I'm talking about when it comes to the 3 pillars of sound isolation, which are an airtight room, having mass, and decoupling. All right, again, I'm Wilson Harwood. I'm a studio designer based in Nashville. I do this full-time for my living. I design studios all over the world, so I definitely know what I'm talking about, and we've had plenty of success not using any of those products and our clients are very happy. So if you're on this journey and you've been convinced, you're like, hey, Wilson, this is pretty interesting stuff. There's two options for you. If you're on the research journey, definitely keep doing it. I have a free resource for you. It's my free soundproofing workshop. It's 35 minutes of in-depth teaching going into how to soundproof correctly, not using products like I talked about in this video. The other option is if you really want some help as from a consultant and a designer for your own project and you don't want to do it all yourself, check out my free Soundproof Clarity calls. These are 30 minutes. I just give you my time. I want to hear about your project and see if we could be a good fit. If not, I just want to give you some advice and help you on your way. And you can sign up for those right away. Just go to soundproofyourstudio.com/step1 and you can click on the I need some construction plans if you just go to soundproofyourstudio.com, and I'd be happy to learn more about your project. Again, thanks for watching and tuning in. My goal is to just try to educate everybody as best as I can on how to build home recording studios like the pros. And that's how I started this whole business. So thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next week with more information on soundproofing and room acoustics.